it's less about the awareness. Chevrolet is a global brand, and I think everyone would be aware of that. It's all about actually how we look to the emerging markets, and hence why we partnered with Manchester United. It's all about the opportunity to talk to our consumers in some of our really, really key markets. So that could be Thailand, Indonesia, China. This is the emerging car market for us. This is where we have to prioritise our vehicle selling, but ultimately where there's real relevance and, like you say, that symbiotic relationship between our consumers and the club. We are a global company. We are looking to the emerging markets all the time, and I think there's not many clubs like Manchester United that would be able to deliver the exposure and the awareness and give us the opportunity to have that conversation with everybody in individual markets. Now, I know what comes with that are challenges, don't get me wrong. I mean, I sit in the global team, and we devise the strategy, and we drive and work with all of the emerging markets to deliver that for Chevrolet on a global level. But we need to be sensitive to the markets themselves. They're all individual, they all operate in their own way, in their different cultures, and we're respectful of that. And I think it's a case of how we bring through our key messaging, but in a way which relates to each of those markets individually. From a global perspective, quite simply, Chevrolet and football in general is all about the power of play. And I don't know, you'll see some of our creative that we've been running with the club recently. Who do you play for? The power of play, and actually what that means, that passion point. Everyone is a fan, everyone has a passion point. It could be food, it could be football, it could be many different things. But if you can relate to someone in that way, in that passion point, absolutely you've got them, and you can then start to have that conversation. And it's that point which you can enjoy that engagement and actually have that dwell time with them. To maybe it is to think about Chevrolet and their next purchase of a vehicle, or actually it's just the opportunity to make them consider us in the first instance in those markets. I think fan engagement is probably one of our biggest USPs. Being able to give back to the fans, be the mediator as the club's principal partner. That's one thing, but we absolutely want to engage the fans, not only in the UK and in Manchester, but all over the world. And I think we do that in many different ways, and I think social and digital platforms now give us the opportunity to do that. But it can come down to, I'll give you the summer tour example. You've probably heard of the games we had out in the States and in Michigan, 110,000 people at the Big House. What a fantastic opportunity that was to demonstrate, what a fantastic game that was between Manchester United and Real Madrid. And I think that took America by storm, along with the World Cup and many other activities that have been happening recently. You're starting to see that little pockets, drive forward, not only in the sports space, but obviously benefiting us as a company as well, who are in the partnership space of sport and football. Return on investment, or return on objectives, and whatever else you want to say these days, is absolutely a key and imperative. And I think we've entered into this partnership for a long period of time, and absolutely before we started and whilst we're doing it, we're absolutely measuring all of those metrics to make sure that we as a brand are benefiting and getting the value out of it. And that's not just a monetary value, that's a value of purchase consideration through to brand awareness. All of these absolutely are tracked on a regular basis. And not only with this one partnership, but all of our global partnerships. We work with our partners and research partners to evaluate that on a worldwide level. This year for us is a big year now that that I've come into the team to support on, and we've gone from an automotive partner to the principal shirt sponsorship, and I think the graph will shoot right up from a media value perspective, no doubt, with the amount of territories that the Barclays Premier League matches are shown in. So that's an easy metric to measure as such. It's those other things, like you say, actually, the consideration to the brand and how people are engaging with Chevrolet, and what does that look like not only in North America but in our emerging territories. So utilising the partnership with Manchester United is just a way in which to, as I said before, engage with people's passion points, engage with them as a fan, and ultimately link the two back together. So there'll be a number of journeys and another number of measurements along the way. How long that will take, I think only time will tell. I think it's going to need a little bit longer before we can actually, see the evidence of the good work that we have been doing. And in some cases and in some sponsorships that can take months or even years before you can actually reap that benefit. So I'm not expecting huge metrics and spikes in the first month or two, but I think this year and beyond we'll start to see a real change and a shift change in the way that Chevrolet is perceived.